Hey guys, Mr. Bernard here. So today we're going to be doing another factoring lesson. This time it is going to be trinomials. So quick example of a trinomial that we have up top here. We have ax squared plus bx plus c. And it says where a is equal to 1. So this just means we can erase that a, and we're only going to be working with x squared or just some variable squared. We don't have to worry about the a term. And in a later lesson, we'll worry about it when it's not 1. So yeah, just for now, we're going to work on it with it being 1. I have a few examples for you guys. So our first one, we have x plus 2, x plus 5, and that's equal to x squared plus 7x plus 10. Well, what is there to factor here? Nothing, because I already have it factored. However, we're going to use this and work backwards in order to see a method of how we can go about factoring. So let's just double distribute really quick. And we know that we're going to get the x squared plus 7x plus 10, but let's get to the step before we actually combine our terms. So x times x, we got x squared plus 2x plus 5x plus 10. So now if we look at what we have here, I'm just going to bring it right below. And we'll see that we have a few things in common right off the bat. So we have x squared, 10, and 10. So in the case of the x squared, all these questions, we're going to have just some value squared, like, as I said before, because our a value is 1. So essentially what that means is all our sets of parentheses, we're going to have like x plus 2, x plus 5. In the next one, we have y plus 3, y minus 4. It's always just going to be the letter by itself. Now, how do we figure out the other numbers? So we see here we have 10 and 10. This dictates this C term. C term is this last term here that doesn't have a variable attached to it. So I'll erase some of these yellow lines here just so we can see, which is the C term. So in this case, it's 10. And our C term actually dictates what goes inside of our parentheses. And how did I go about finding 5 and 2? So I found it because our method for this is we want to find factors of 10. So let's list our factors of 10. So 10, we got 1 and 10 and 2 and 5. Okay, so but how are we supposed to pick between these two? So now this is where our B term, which I'll underline in red, this 7x comes into play. So we want to know which two factors of 10 add up to 7. So which factors of 10 add up to 7? Well, 1 and 10, that's 11, so that can't be it. And 2 and 5, that equals 7 when you add them up. So we're going to be working with then 2 and 5, which we have in our parentheses. So because we have our a value is 1, we know that we're just going to have x and x in both of them. And for our factors of 10, we have the 1 and 10 or 2 and 5. So we want to use the ones that add up to 7, which are 2 and 5. So now we just plug them in to our sets of parentheses. And so we have x plus 2 and x plus 5, which is what I have up top. So let's take a look at another example. So in this case, we have y plus 3, y minus 4, and that's going to be equal to y squared minus y minus 12. So let's double distribute. We got y squared. We're going to get plus 3y minus 4y minus 12. So now we're dealing with a negative c. So in this case, minus 12. So we have negative 12. What are our factors? Well, we have negative 12 and 1. We have negative 1 and 12, 2 and 6, negative 6, negative 2 and positive 6, 3 and negative 4, negative 3 and positive 4. So handful of factors going on here. Now we have 6 different factors that we can choose from here. So that's a decent amount. How do we go about choosing it? Well, which ones add up to our b value? So what is our b value in this case? Negative 1. And that's because it's just negative y minus y. So there's an implied 1 in front of this. So let's take a look at our factors of negative 12, and let's see which of these adds up to negative 1. So off the bat, it's not going to be this one. It's not going to be this one. 2 and negative 6, that doesn't add up. Negative 2 and positive 6, that doesn't add up to it either. 3 and negative 4, that adds up to negative 1. And negative 3 and positive 4, that adds up to positive 1. So let's cross that one out. So this is our lucky winner over here. And that matches what I have in parentheses as well, the positive 3 and the negative 4. So we see here that our C value has us determine which factors to choose. So our C value tells us we need 2 factors of this number. And our B value tells us which factors of C add up to B. And so we'll do this again. And then we'll have some independent practice problems where you can pause the video and then try it for yourself and then check. So let's keep writing in red. So in this case, we have z minus 6 and z minus 4. And I claim that that is equal to z squared minus 10z plus 24. So what is our C value? 24. Factors of 24. 1 and 24. 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. Well, which one should I choose from? Well, we want to know what adds up to what. Our B term, negative 10. It looks like none of these here add up to negative 10. The closest one that we have, actually, is our 4 and 6. These add up to positive 10, though. So that means that we're missing some factors, and we got to include those. So this tells us that we have to also work with negative numbers. So other factors of positive 24 include negative 1 and negative 24. And we're going to work our way down. Negative 2 and negative 12, negative 3, and negative 8, and lastly, negative 4 and negative 6. And so in this case, our winner here is going to be negative 4 and negative 6, which we have in our set of parentheses. When we double distribute, you would see that it is these two numbers. So now let's try to do some practice problems and actually figure this out instead of already having it factored. So if you want to pause the video, work on this yourself, and then come back to it and just double check your work. So first question, we have b squared plus 8b plus 7. All right, so 7 is our C term. Factors of 7, 1 and 7. And we want to know which factors of 7 add up to 8. Well, we only have these two factors, and 1 and 7 also happen to add up to 8. So we're going to have b, and this is because it's just b squared. So b plus our first factor, 1, times b plus 7. And now if we double distribute, we'll get b squared plus 8b plus 7. So let's take a look now. We have k squared plus 2k minus 24. So again, factors of negative 24, we had negative 1 and 24, 1 and negative 24, 2 and negative 12, negative 2 and positive 12, 3 and negative 8, negative 3 and positive 8, 4 and negative 6, negative 4 and positive 6. All right, we have a lot to choose from here. So, which do we choose from? Well, which of these factors adds up to positive 2? Negative 1 and 24 or 1 and negative 24? That is not it. So let's cross that out. 2 and negative 12 or negative 2 and 12? Nope, that's not it either. 3 and negative 8 and negative 3 and 8. Those will add up to negative 5 or positive 5. So that's not going to be it either. 4 and negative 6. Well, that adds up to negative 2, so it's not going to be that one. Negative 4 and positive 6. That sounds much better. That adds up to positive 2. So we're going to have our double sets of parentheses. And we're working with k squared by itself. So we could put k in one, k in the other. And we have negative 4 as one of our terms. So let's write that in one set of parentheses. And positive 6 in our other one. Next example. And so that ends up being the answer. And now our next example, we have 64 is our value for our value for C. So 64. What are our factors of 64? We got 1 and 64, 2 and 32, 4 and 16, 8 and 8. Oh, that was weird. Sorry about that. The app crashed. So yeah, these are the factors that we have to work with. And now we want to know which of these add up to 16. So in this case, we could clearly see that it's going to be 8 and 8. So we're going to have m plus 8 times m plus 8. Well, we could actually simplify this a little bit further. Because they're the same, we can actually call this m plus 8 squared. And so that ends up being our answer for this one. And our final question that we have here in red, n squared minus n minus 56. So let's look at our factors of 56. Of negative 56, sorry. We got 1 and negative 56. We have negative 1 and positive 56. 2 and negative 28. Negative 2 and positive 28. Then we have 7 and negative 8, negative 7, and positive 8. And how do we know which ones to use? Well, we have to look at our B. Our B is negative 1. So we can rule out these first two, these second two. It's got to be one of the ones in this third. It's going to either be 7 and 8, 7 and negative 8, or negative 7 and positive 8. Well, 7 and negative 8 add up to negative 1. So that's going to be the one that we use. So we set up our parentheses. N in both of them. Positive 7 is one of our terms. Negative 8 is our other one. And that ends up being our answer. If you want to check it, just double distribute. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask as well. Otherwise, have a great day.